Three, two, one, and we're live, Paul. Welcome to the 9th episode of the WrestleVLOGS podcast. This is Moich. We're joined as always by the dildo dude himself, El Chazo.
What up, everyone?
And also joined by the host of WrestleVLOGS. He is the mark that gets marked, Julio.
Yo, what's up?
And we've got a special guest today. He is the Detroit import, Joe Demaro. How's it going, Joe?
Man, it's been a long time coming. I tried to dodge y'all for like 3 months, but he finally got me. Inadvertently dodging, but we're here now. We got nothing but time now.
I mean, we definitely understand the last time we were supposed to get you. That was brutal. So we definitely understand.
Man, we can get all into that and then some.
Oh, funny you mentioned that. So that's kind of like a perfect segue into kind of my first round of questions. So it's no secret that on this show that I'm probably the world's biggest heavy metal wrestling mark in existence. So just want to touch base with you on that. So you've been in some incredibly vicious matches before. Specifically, the one I first want to talk about is the one that still is ingrained in my memory to this day, and that's your fucking epic ladder match with Johnny Bedlam at Heavy Metal Thunder.
Man, that one was like the culmination of like I don't know, this whole like heavy metal weekly thing is like kind of clicking, and I'm having fun with it, and I'm just kind of like trying new stuff out, and kind of getting the idea behind storytelling and whatnot, because I'd only been wrestling matches for like a year prior to that. So, and the year prior to that was just all training. No, that was definitely one of the funnest feuds of the past summer. I mean, I personally, like, you can probably tell because I don't do too much crazy stuff, even though I work on it and I don't ever use it, but I'm afraid of heights. So, like, I'd never done a ladder match or any, like, crazy dives and stuff like that before until that match. So it was another period of growth for me to kind of do something like that.
Right on. And I mean, I can speak just from the fans' perspective. That match was just fucking insane. I was actually in the corner where I was at. I was actually next to Johnny Bedlam's family for that match. So, like, a part of me, like, was like, fuck, I want to cheer for Demaro, but I'm also kind of right next to this guy's family. And it's funny because his brothers are all built like Johnny, and they all look exactly like him. So I'm like, fuck, these guys will probably kick my ass if I don't cheer for them. But the most important thing that came out of that was you came out as Heavy Metal Wrestling Thunder television champ. How did it feel going into that match without, not being a champion and coming out as champion?
That was my first. That was my first title win in any promotion since I had started wrestling up until that point. So it meant a lot to me, especially just how we would just grind it out week after week, just trying to get better and just coming up with new stuff. And I don't know, man, it was like a culmination of hard work. Not trying to sound cliche, but once that happened, I was like, okay, like we got something here. It's time to like level up a little bit. Uh, Challenge yourself to do and try new things and go a little bit longer and whatnot. So it was a lot that came with that. Like it was a big confidence booster. And then I guess I was doing an all right job because I ended up holding on to it for the remainder of the Thunder Twitch series. So I thought that was a pretty fun accomplishment too. But man, like I can't reiterate enough how fun that was doing that with Bedlam and the rest of the other guys leading up to that. It was just fun, and I think up until that point, like we'd only got like maybe 40 or 50 people in the pit at that point, which is like we were cool with that. Like that's enough for some noise and a good amount of regulars, and it's a fun old Thursday night. But I think for that night we pulled like 155 people, somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool just watching that whole show and how loud they were from the locker room, and then you get out there and you're just in the moment. It's like really, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's very like it's like surreal. Like I never thought,
Mm-hmm.
155 people isn't that much depending on the venue, but it just felt like there was so many people there. It was fun. It was like just a lot of energy.
Right on. I mean, it's sad that those shows aren't happening anymore because I remember I've been to a few of the like a good portion of those shows, and man, there were always like one thing after another, like packed after packed house and packed house and packed house, and just banger of a match after banger of a match. Like it was just, it's still up there as one of the best products I've seen in wrestling. Period. You know.
I agree.
Uh,
I agree because they didn't just do like your standard like, oh, you have a belt and I want it, we're gonna fight, or oh, you think you're the big bad tough guy in the show. No, I am. We're gonna fight. Like it was a bunch of funny stories, dude. Like I remember Luigi Primo and someone else fought over like a
oh,
slice of
the
pizza.
pineapple on pizza. It was. I remember that. It
Yeah.
was great. It
Was
was
that him
him
and
and Great
Scotty?
Scott.
Yeah.
It was him. It was
Yeah, it
during
was
an episode
Scotty.
of Matt Chat.
Oh
He was
man.
interviewing Primo. He came out and they started talking about pineapple on pizza. God, funny enough, I was just gonna mention that because Dunbar was on what's his name? Gregory Irons podcast and mentioned that, and I was like, oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, man,
I mean,
it was just stuff like that. Like I'd hear about it in the back, and I'd be like, well, they're not gonna really do that. And then I'd watch the show, because a lot of times it was either before my segment or not, and I would just see the ridiculousness that would go on, and people would buy into it, and like it was funny. It was just fun to watch. It was very creative.
oh man, it was great. And the one thing I just was always like I always loved the most is like how much the talent interacted with the fans. From the time DXC nearly kicked my buddy Kyle in the face at uh fuck when was it cease and desist, not cease and desist, cease and destroy. That's such a fucking tongue twister.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is.
to all to all the moments where I've hurled my fair share of insults at people and they've hurled their fair share insulting me back, and just kind of
Hmm.
like that moment. Um, Hell, even the time like where me and my buddies in the corner were cheering you on for your match against Ruben Steele at the Final Thunder taping, which was again fucking awesome.
Yeah, I had never been in a match that had streamers thrown, so I thought that was pretty fun, pretty cool. And then I knew once we were getting outside the ring, things were gonna get a little bit rough. But man, Ruben's a crazy dude. It's the reason
Oh
he always
man,
beats
that
me.
that was just insane. I was there like in like again, I was off to the in one of the corners. I was like, holy fuck, they're right there. And next thing I know, I just see you getting your ass beat with Rod's belt, and I was just like, oh fuck, that's
he
happening.
uh he threw a folding chair in my face. It threw me off. And I was sitting there
uh,
trying to recover on the ground, and then a steel chair falls onto the back of my head, and I'm like, all right, we're kicking it up a notch before we get out of this place, so we get kicked out of this venue.
but just kind of tie it all together. A lot of wrestlers that we've had on here, and I ask them about Heavy Metal Thunder, they always say nothing but good things. They always say, how much Heavy Metal Thunder has helped them in the long run for their career. I just kind of want to get your take. How did Heavy Metal Thunder help your career out?
Man, I don't want to keep being wordy or long-winded or whatnot, but dude, I don't think I would have improved the way I did from 2018, the end of 2018 to the end of 2019, without that show, without those group of guys. Like I remember, I would get to the back after every show, and I talked to Scotty, ask him how I can get better. Tempo is a good mentor. Just having regulars and not regulars and see what they like and don't like. Experiment with yourself. The few times I did try to um, horrendously cut a promo, I kind of figured out what works and doesn't work with like listing stuff and trying to go off a script. So uh, man, it's just good. It's good for reps, dude. Good for reps. A big motivator to stay fit because they have really good production value for a free show that shouldn't
Mhm.
have that good of production value.
For sure.
uh, yeah, dude. So it got me a lot more exposure and bookings across the state. Uh, Man, I could go on and on, dude. Like they just gave me. I said I had the time and the ableness to drive to San Antonio, just an hour, hour and a half in traffic every Thursday, and that commitment alone is all they needed, and they gave me the opportunity to get better on screen, and I ran with it. And I still think there's a lot more I could be better at, but dude, like, I could just see the progression from like a January Thunder episode to like, the last 10, I'd say. I'm confident of saying they were decent matches of mine.
Oh, for sure.
It was fun, man. It was a lot of fun.
I mean, because even at the guillotine shows, there were still, back when those were a thing, those are still, you were still putting on bangers of matches, you know?
So yeah, I appreciate that. And the big thing for it was reps and seeing if I could, go a little bit further. Can I deliver this kind of tag or this kind of scramble or this kind of singles match? And then I started getting more opportunities with singles matches, and then more opportunities with getting to the title match, and then defending the TV title every week. So it was a good confidence booster, and it gave me a good baseline of where I'm at, how I can get better. And honestly, like, some people wish for a break or whatnot, and I know we're getting like a really long one now to heal our injuries and whatnot, and whatever else we need to take care of in life. But wrestling at least once a week on a Thursday, if you didn't have any other bookings, was so good. Just for confidence and just getting in the groove and really feeling like, hey man, like, I'm really a wrestler out here, like I'm doing this, like I'm at least trying to make this a thing. So it was a good collaborative effort by all the guys. So I'm really
Right on.
proud to have been part of that, because I didn't do a lot of traveling or music festivals or anything else a 25-year-old usually does last year. I just focused on wrestling and training, and it seems to have paid off for the most part. So
Yeah, right
uh,
on. Because,
yeah.
I mean, you became one of the famous and infamous wrestlers and characters on heavy metal, you know? You were always, like, one of the people that always stuck out in my mind. Like, for example, like, it was one of the deciding factors. I was like, oh, I remember vividly sending it to my buddy Matt, who I always went to. I still go to this day, but we're always like, I was like, remember vividly when that ladder match got announced. I shot him that message. I was like, cancel all of our fucking plans. We gotta fucking see this. Fucking Demaro and Bedlam. Say no more. Um,
It was a good little build, huh? It was cool.
yeah, it was. I mean, it was cool as an understatement, dude. That was fucking. That was actually the first ever ladder match I've ever seen live, and man, it couldn't have been the more perfect.
Hey, same here, bro.
Right on, man. Right on. So, kind of still want to more focus on like the fan aspect. So, we all know that you are known as the Detroit import. So, kind of want to get into what really made you want to come to Texas?
Oh man, how deep we getting into this? Like, what led me to
As deep as you
Texas?
want, as deep as you want, bro.
Man, long story short, and not to get too like sappy or whatnot, but I had finished school at Michigan State in May 2016, and I had just turned 22, and I got a degree in computer science, so I worked up until now in IT. And I had interned here the summer before and said, all right, I'm going to take the full-time offer in Austin because I just want to change it up. And from my hometown, most people just stay back and just kind of live the more traditional life, which is okay if that makes you happy. But for me, I was always kind of wanting a little bit more. And I knew since I was like 17 that I wanted to get into wrestling. So I ended up moving here June 2016, and got my first big boy job, making good money. Got a brand new car, my own apartment, a bunch of new stuff, girlfriend, friends, doing all the new Austin things. And then I don't know. I think by the end of that summer, I was kind of like drained, kind of like, I'm only here to pay bills and go out downtown to the bars on the weekends. Like, I don't know, this isn't really fulfilling, you know what I mean? Just the traditional whatever. And I was like telling myself, like, hey man, when are you gonna get into wrestling? Like, what's stopping you, dude? Like, why are you so afraid to do this? Really, like, mentally I was just not all there. I just like was kind of worried about what people would think, having like moved across the country and getting a new job and doing what you're supposed to do, you know what I mean? So it wasn't till the end of that year I unfortunately like lost my dad unexpectedly, and then the next month was like Christmas time, and my car got vandalized, and I was like, dude, like I'm taking L after L, like I'm not happy with my job or what I'm doing here, like I'm just gonna I gotta jump into this. So I think it was right before New Year's. I had called, or I had went to go eat after a workout, and I sat in my car and I said, "Man, like you need to call the nearest wrestling school, like ASAP." And I stopped myself, and I was like, "Nah, like it's like 5 or 6 o'clock." I go into the Starbucks next door to the Chipotle that I ate at, and I get a coffee at like 8 p.m. because it's like holiday time. There's no work. There's nothing to do. I'm just like literally wasting time. And I sit down, and the guy next to me on his laptop is watching WWE Monday Night Raw highlights. And I didn't even sit down for more than like 30 seconds before I grabbed my coffee, like ran back to my car, and I called George De La Isla. He didn't answer, but I left him a message, and he ended up calling back 10 minutes later and said to come the day after New Year's to start training. So ever since then, I just kind of been, I just jumped in like full force, kind of like made my work and what I did outside of work prioritized around wrestling training and eventually shows. And um, yeah, just everything centered around that. As all my responses are very long-winded, so I apologize for that.
Oh no,
But
that's awesome. That's actually what
I'm
we love.
no, man, I'm very like OCD about explaining all the details so everything makes sense. But I hope that
Mhm.
flowed enough for you.
No, dude, you're good. I mean, I perfectly get it too. I mean, there's, what I do in for a living. I'm like sometimes it's like, oh fuck. I get those feelings too. I'm like, God damn it, I love what I do and all, but fuck, there's got to be more. You know what I mean? So I get
You
that feeling
have to do what
completely.
makes you happy. You have to do what makes you happy, in my opinion, man. Like, doesn't it and whatever money you make, dude. Personally, if you can make it work within your lifestyle means and people you have to take care of, like that's what matters most, in my opinion. And I have this video saved on my phone. It's from a New Japan like little mini doc series they would do on YouTube. I think like 3 or 4 years ago, and one of them was from Juice Robinson when they were following him around, and it's had to be like at least 3 or 4 years ago. But I saved it 2 years ago, and it's basically just a 60-second video of him explaining like I wrestle because it makes me happy. You know, like you don't have to wrestle and make yourself happy, but just find whatever makes you happy and just do it, kind of thing. It's cliche, but dude, like it makes you get through the day so much easier and so much more fulfilled, in my opinion. So nowadays, dude, like I don't have any problem like telling people I'm a wrestler. You know what I mean? I don't have any problem like changing my name on Facebook to my wrestling name, publicly posting about like cool stuff or funny stuff or silly stuff that in regards to wrestling, because I don't know, I own it, I live up to it now. I'm proud to be part of it, and I'm proud to be part of Texas wrestling and the community I came up in. So, um, yeah, man, I don't know. I'm just all in for this stuff right now.
Right on. Now, what are some of the things you love about Texas crowds, as opposed to other places that you've been?
So I've only been outside Texas a handful amount of times. So that was going to be my main focus before COVID-19 happened, and I'll get into that later if we get into it. But what I like about the fan base is that you can kind of see the same regulars, no matter if you're like in Dallas or Houston or San Antonio or Laredo or Abilene. Like you'll see at least like two or three of the same faces, and all these cities aren't like an hour away from each other. They're all like at least 2 to 3 to 4 hours away from each other. I think it's pretty cool how they're just as dedicated to make the drives as the boys in the locker room sometimes. Sometimes more dedicated than others, which is crazy.
Right. So, oh man. So as we kind of mentioned earlier, I do want to talk about your match with Masada. I do want to get some stuff on that. So, first thing I gotta say is I'm sorry to you because uh, I don't know how you're gonna react to this, but that Topo Chico bottle that he cut you with was actually my Topo Chico bottle.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, I was in the corner, off to the side near the bar, and I was drinking a Topo Chico, and I set it on the table. Keep in mind, I was still drinking it, and Masada, like, he mentions to bring it. Someone hands it to him, and I'm like, "That's my Topo Chico. I was drinking that," and I was like, "Oh, please don't do what I think you're gonna do." And he did what I thought he was gonna do.
Honestly, man, those are thick bottles, and I was kind of glazed over at that point, and I was like, what's going on here? And as soon as I saw him grab it, I said, yo, if he just cuts me with it, I'll be happy. I was really hoping that shit wasn't gonna get broken over my head.
I know. I was like, man, what if two things is gonna happen? Either A, he's gonna smash it over his head, but Shane, that ain't gonna go well. Or B, he's just gonna cut him with it. Please, I was like, if it's gonna come to it, please be option B. And it happened, and I was like, all my friends were making fun of me. They're like, hey, they're like, Joe's gonna die because of you. And I was like, oh, don't say that. I was like, please don't say that. And yeah, and funny enough, I actually kept some of those skewers that were in your head actually
Oh,
for your
really?
day.
Does that still have the blood and DNA on them?
Yeah, so if you ever need to get cloned, I got you, bro.
Thanks, man. I might need it during these times.
Yeah, so uh, so on that topic, was that actually your first ever death match?
Yeah, man, and honestly, like, I kind of, dude, you know how that event went. The card changed so many times,
Oh yeah.
I originally went into that, after having like a really fun match with Kurt Stallion, and they're like, all right, we're gonna throw you Daga next. I said, oh, okay. I should probably start, doing cardio like 10 times more than I was, and trying to learn some new moves and learn how to move like lucha and all that. And then, all the other stuff went down, and they kind of had to change the card. So when they changed it to Masada, before that happened, I got a call from Dunbar actually. He's like, Joe, and I'm like stretching at the gym. I'm like, bro, what? He's like, I got a replacement, but I got to ask if you're okay with it. I said, all right, bro, what's up? he's like, the only person I can get right now is Masada because he's in town, and it's last minute and all this stuff, and he's equally as a big name as Daga, and it'll be a good experience. And I said, all right, that's fine. I like Masada. I think he's a really good wrestler. If you watch a lot of his, even his stuff in the past few years, like deathmatch or not deathmatch, he's just a really
Hmm.
methodical, technical wrestler. Uh, I don't know. I was like trying to not psych myself out about it, but I think everything leading into that match kind of inadvertently psyched me out and kind of made things go the way they did during that match.
Right now, I just kind of want to get your thoughts. Like, what really like made you want to go up against Masada? Like you said, you didn't psych yourself out. Going up against this ultra violent deathmatch icon. Like kind of like what was your thought process to kind of not psych yourself out, and what really made you want to be like, you know what, let's do it, deathmatch with Masada, let's go.
So I didn't necessarily get like ask or find out or go out of my way to find out if this is gonna be like full on death match. I just kind of went into it like, all right, well, we're gonna wrestle. If this stuff happens, it happens. If not, I've done a little bit of this stuff, and he's a he's a pro, dude. Like, this is the person you want to trust with this kind of stuff. So I wasn't like too worried in that sense. Uh, I wanted to have a good match and kind of deliver on the type of performances I was having up until then, and I don't think I did that, and that's on me. And I don't mean to make excuses, but there is a good amount of events that kind of got me to be in my own head going into that, and just something felt weird going into that match, and I had fun with it. I learned from it. Uh, I wouldn't say it was a bad match, but definitely could have been better on my end, in my opinion.
I mean, again, like don't want to sound like I'm like sucking your dick too hard or putting you over too hard, but I think you did pretty good. Again, for someone who's not being a deathmatch guy going into that, I was just like, damn, he fucking held up. You know, and again, amidst of all the Joe's gonna die type shit, I was like, oh, he survived.
Yeah,
I knew it.
it's it was a couple things. Like the guy had such a mental high and like confidence high, I guess, or high confidence after just like the way the last few Thunders were going and my other bookings were going, and the match with Stallion was really good, and then I was like kind of overtraining and whatnot, and at another show I ended up tearing my PCL like the first week of December. So, and I kept re-injuring it because I was still wrestling on it, and I was just being stubborn, thinking it was like a pulled hamstring is what I'm trying to say.
Hmm.
So I kept wrestling on it, injuring it, and I don't know. By then it was like no bueno. So that day I wrestled Masada was my first time wearing like an actual like real brace for it.
Hmm.
I don't know how early you got there, but I was like just warming up in the ring for a good hour or so, just trying to see if I could
Yeah.
move with it or whatnot. Something about that day just like felt off, dude. Like
Hmm.
my Twitter and Instagram mentions and my Facebook mentions were like notifications were like really active, really high that week, those 2 weeks leading up into the match announcement.
Hmm.
And like I even cut a promo for it. Like I didn't really
Oh
let like the
yeah.
Joe's gonna die stuff like get to me and whatnot, but like I don't know, all that stuff kind of got to me, and then the stuff with my leg, and the stuff with like, man, he's like a legend, and I don't want to let him down and whatnot, and
Hmm.
I don't know. I think all that stuff got to me, and once we got in the match, like I was kind of all over the place, and one of the shots got me pretty good. That's on me. I'm not putting that on Masada at all. That's on me. One of the shots got me pretty good that I didn't brace for, and I was kind of just glazed the rest of the match. Uh, that's pretty much what ended up happening. I just tried to hang in there.
Right on. And I mean, again, you did. You fucking did. You did it, bro. You
Yeah,
can at least you can successfully say you survived and Joe didn't die.
dude, I'm not even honestly just saying this to flex on the podcast or try to sound cool or whatnot. But like for me, like my own selfish personal fulfillment and like making that up and redeeming myself is like I don't know if it has to be a death match or not, but I definitely have to wrestle him again
Hmm.
because like I don't know. Even on camera, you could see like I'm a lot more like skinnier, paler, like not confident, like just out of it, dude. Like that definitely wasn't me at my best, and that bothered me for a solid like 2 weeks, dude. Like it wasn't until the Alex Shelley seminar, like a week and a half after that, like I was like just mentally like not not happy.
Hmm. Right.
I felt like a lot of the hard work I put in towards the middle to end of the year of 2019 was like fake. Like, oh, what was that? You know what I mean? But I don't know. I got over it. Like Alex Shelley
That's
seminar went
good,
really
man.
well.
Yeah,
So
that's good. I'm happy you got out of that, man.
yeah, it's all a learning experience. Once I start to like all my friends, all the heavy metal boys were telling me like, dude, this is a learning experience, whatnot. Like
Hmm.
better with him than someone else who could have done something worse or not been as experienced, and or
Hmm.
you don't want to be blowing spots or anything like that. So I don't know. Next time, next time I wrestle Masada will be a way more uh, intellectual Joe Demaro, a Joe Demaro without a torn PCL, a Joe
Right
Demaro who
on.
won't be in his head, and just one that will be more prepared and not get psyched out by what he's telling himself or what other people are saying on social media. So I take full responsibility for that. So that's basically in a long-winded nutshell how I feel about that match.
No, it's all good, man. And finally, just kind of want to cap it off. Like, are you down to do more of those like hardcore and death matches in the future, or is that was that just like a one and done deal?
Like, man, I definitely have to get better with doing those kinds of matches. So I definitely would have to like, I don't know if people train to do deathmatch stuff. I don't know if that sounds stupid or whatnot, but I definitely would want to be safe with who I'm working with and whatnot. And if the story and whatnot and the builds kind of lived up to it. Kind of like how, you know, the TLC match with Bedlam, after weeks and weeks of like beating each other up and matches and this kind of match and that kind of match, this kind of outcome. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't know. I still think barbed wire is scary. So I'll have to ease into that stuff. And I scar easily, man. Like, I'm pretty like fair skinned, so that stuff you could pretty much see. I have scars on my arm from like zip ties, dude, that are around the ring. So
Oh
I'm
shit.
only yeah, I'm only imagining what like blades and stuff could do, or barbed wire or whatnot.
Oh shit.
All right, so all right, Joe. So going back to your career, what was your first introduction to pro wrestling?
My earliest memory,
Yes. What
um,
got you into it?
oh, it's an easy answer. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I saw it. We're at my cousin's house. I was about 3 or 4 years old, so this had to be like between 97, 98, probably 98. And I just remember seeing Stone Cold um, on the TV. He was either wrestling or beating up Mr. McMahon, like the Austin McMahon feud, or he was beating up Triple H. But I just remember like his entrance and like him looking so badass and just like taking care of the bad guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was so cool to me. Um, and honestly, man, like, I was a huge fan. Like, I've always been a huge fan, but I never really thought about doing it until I was maybe 17 or 18. But yeah, that's my earliest memory of it. And then ever since then, I would just watch like Monday Night Raw and SmackDown religiously. Like, would go to TV Guide channel to look at the time to see right when it turns 9 o'clock, so I don't miss a second of like the hype ass intro they used to do back in the 90s.
So was Stone Cold your influence, or was there any other influences that got you into start wrestling?
Solely 100% since I was a kid was Stone Cold. Um, he's the reason I know what Texas was. I only knew like two states when I was 4 years old. That was Michigan and Texas. I didn't know any other states. Probably knew more, but I don't know. Those are the two that came to mind just because of him. Yeah, and then as I got older, it was like Randy Orton. I was really into Jeff Hardy when he had his singles run against CM Punk. Early 2010s, like I was really into The Shield, and then I guess you could say like once YouTube uh, picked up on like indie wrestling and stuff and old videos, like I would go back and look up like when WWE wrestlers were in FCW or when they were in like Ring of Honor, other promotions or their indie matches, and I would just see how they got their start.
Hmm. So on let me see. So on back in your training, uh, can you tell us a little bit more how your training went, your first day of training, and after that, and who trained you?
Uh, so I trained at AAPW, America's Academy of Pro Wrestling, in Austin, Texas. Was out of a little tin can garage in Pflugerville, which is a suburb just north of Austin. I trained with George De La Isla for my first couple months. Um, my first day of training was January 2nd, 2017, after he told me when I called him on the phone, like, come after New Year's. So I said, okay, I'm literally going to come after New Year's. I remember getting in a workout that day. I remember like swimming, eating real tough, like eating real nice, like getting really hydrated. And like I got in there and he was kind of like, "Hey, do you want to watch and see how this kind of goes down?" And I just saw they were doing like rolls and like basic stuff, and I was like, "Nah, man, like let me sign the forms and just get in there and like get to it, start rolling, start locking up, start doing all the basic stuff." Um, so we're doing that, and I think they took me outside the ring and they taught me, how to lock up and do a lot of different other holds around the world and stuff like that. And I remember Ricky Starks actually pulled up to training that day and was like helping me learn how to lock up and do all those. And by the end of the class, I had to lock up and do the same maneuvers with all like 20 something people that were at class that day. So it was a cool like kind of icebreaker and like cool first day into wrestling training. And I think I ended up doing 2 or 3 more training sessions, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna pay. Like they gave me like a week to decide if I was really gonna do it. And I decided I was gonna do it. So once I do something, I don't do it, or I don't quit until I'm finished with it. And they told me the training was 1 year long, and I told myself like, yo, to know if I'm really into this, I'm gonna complete the training, even on if graduation day I graduate and I say, all right, wrestling's not for me. I didn't want to quit in the middle of it. It was like a commitment to always like come to training, try my best, and see if it's for me. And I ended up liking it more and more as I went.
And it paid off. And like how Chase mentioned earlier, you were known through heavy metal, and then you started getting bookings around the state. And like how I saw you last time at Corpus.
Oh yeah, I love
So
that Corpus crowd is something else. They're fun to wrestle in front of.
yeah, and so now going back, how long did it take you to train to start going to your first match?
Oh, okay. So, man. So I train with. So George is a little bit of an older guy. He's been
Hmm.
around for a long time in the business. He could never get in the ring just because of his age and physical limitations and stuff. But he would have um, past students like come in and demonstrate the move. So we would just take instruction from George and then kind of work on it with the 15 or 20 people that were in class that day. So he taught me all my basics, and then it was kind of like sporadic who would run class and pop in and whatnot. But it wasn't until like I'd say Mayish is when Steve Reno came back to the school and kind of helped fully train me. Zach Taylor helped to train me a lot and like the fine tune things. I know ACH would pop in once in a while. Ricky would pop in once in a while. Christy James help out a lot. So, um, yeah, ever since then, it's just been a mix of like Steve, George, and then later, I forgot to mention, later in that year, Ray Campos took over and owned AAPW, and he kind of helped with my training too for my last, I'd say 4 or 5 months. So it's a wide assortment of trainers. But if I had to like lay a finger on who had most of my training, I would say George, Steve, and Zach Taylor and Ray Campos. So those are my four guys that kind of showed me the way. And then I try to get a lot of coaching and refinement from people like ACH or Ricky Starks or Christy James. That's kind of who's in the Austin area. And I roll around with Steve all the time before all this COVID stuff happened. So it's a tight squad out here. I enjoy training when they're around.
That's great, and they're all you're learning pretty much like different types of wrestling from them, and you're gaining from that.
I'll tell you what, I'm definitely that much closer to getting into ring shape whenever they're in class. Cause dude, I will be sucking wind, man.
So, tell us about your first match, a little backstory, how it went down, and where'd you go, and all that good stuff.
So 4 months into training, 3 months into training actually, 3 or 4, I don't know. I did a small battle royal of like new student showcase, whatever. But I almost want to say it doesn't count because I was in there for maybe like 10, 20, 30 seconds of brawling, and then I like allowed myself to get eliminated just because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know any better. I was nervous, and I was like, all right, I know how to do one thing: pretend to brawl if I can, because I didn't know much more than basics, and then get thrown over the top rope. So that's like my unofficial official first match. But my first match was 5 or 6 months into my training. It was July 15th, 2017, and it was against a guy who doesn't train anymore. He only trained for 3 or 4 months, but he had 3 months less training than I did. So the funny story is the first match I had was against somebody else having their first match, and I'm the heel, and I'm the one supposed to like carry the match. So um, it was it wasn't like a stellar match, but it wasn't like a terrible match. You could just tell when you watch it like these are two very very new inexperienced guys. I didn't even have like real gear at that point, so just standard like getting the crowd really mad and doing anything I can to be dirty just to portray to the crowd that, hey man, I'm the bad guy. Like make sure like you don't like me, like that kind of stuff. So I remember I think I got on the mic afterwards, like on the fly, and just said like, I don't respect the rules or respect any of you people, and I'm out of here, something like that. I don't know. If I could find the match, I will. I'll share it with you guys. It's a very stark contrast to what you've seen me do in the past year.
Well, we'll look forward to it. So, last time, like how I said, we met at Corpus. We were talking a little bit, and then you're telling me you were gonna go up to Canada with other Texas talent and wrestle, correct?
Yeah, man, that was actually the last time I wrestled because of the pandemic that happened. So that was at the end of February. We went to Winnipeg. So it was me and Prince Adam. We flew to St. Louis, met up with Cody Lane and Ethan Price, got in a rental and drove 16 hours one way to Winnipeg and wrestled 2 shows for WrestleMax and got to talk on a Native American reservation and hear about people's experiences and just check out Winnipeg a little bit, some good food spots, got to work out. Tyler Colton is the guy who hosted all that and runs WrestleMax. He's a pretty good wrestler himself. I wrestled him on night 1, and he was very hospitable, and he made that trip very memorable and very fun, in my opinion. Like, he did more than he had to, especially letting us all stay at his place, making room for us, and making sure we're all comfortable. So that was a pretty fun trip. That was 16 hours one way from St. Louis, and then we drove 16 hours back, and then flew back to Austin.
And how was the experience wrestling? How did it feel wrestling over there? Any differences between here and Texas, between fans and wrestling wise?
So the first night was cool. It was more like a show for that Indian reservation. There was a lot of kids, and I wrestled Tyler, who's a lot bigger dude, and I was kind of like the smaller, like sneaky, dirty guy, like trying to you know find any cheap way to knock him down and take him down. So they were really into it. The second night is pretty funny because we're at this like small box bar venue kind of thing downtown, and it literally felt like heavy metal. Like crowd was up against the ring. It was a really dark environment with just lighting on the ring. Me and Adam were in a multi-man match against a couple guys from Minnesota, including we got to wrestle Airwolf. He's a pretty cool, talented dude. I could see why he's everywhere that he is. That was a really fun match. But yeah, man, it was cool. It was really cold because locker room was in the basement. So basement of already cold February Winnipeg
shit.
temperature. So we're literally like freezing and just warming up downstairs the whole time. But no, man, it was a great experience. Two solid bookings out of that, and a good fun trip with some of the guys I'm closest to in wrestling.
Hell yeah! Now, one of my favorite matches with you was the match with you had with Kurt Stallion at Heavy Metal, and just being in the crowd, like it seemed like the crowd was talking a bunch of smack, and it kind of fueled you guys to kind of push harder and just turn it up to 11. What were like your thoughts like in the match? Like, did you guys? Well, I know Kurt because you could visibly tell that he was paying attention to the crowd, but what were your kind of thoughts like, or if you remember some of your thoughts going through that match, and then after that match, because it seemed like you guys stole the show that night.
That and I watch it back and I see stuff that I can be better at, but that to this day, even with the stuff I think I could have done better, is my favorite match just because of the atmosphere and how it ended up going. And I'll tell you what, like going into that match, I was getting kind of like used to working at least 2 or 3 shows a weekend, including the Thunder show, in case there was like nothing. And I was having a lot of fun, a lot of confidence built with those. I felt like I was in decent shape. I was watching a lot of his matches, and I've seen him wrestle a lot from when I was first training. I used to see him at ACW a lot, Anarchy Championship Wrestling. And I don't know, his matches, like his move set is consistent. And I just tried to think of like all the creative ways, I could counter this, oh, I could do this, I could do that if he tries to go for this. And we got there that day, and I blew my own expectation of how the match was going to go, because I knew that match was a test for me. It was like, all right, Joe can hang with the guys in Texas for the most part, at his level, slightly above his level, slightly below his level. Joe has consistency, but where is he on like a skill matching up level? And I felt like I could hang with him, dude. It was really everything was just kind of flowing in that match. And honestly, like, I try to emulate his kind of grind and the successes he's had with wrestling, because he started when he was 22. I started when I was 22. He was making his ways around Texas his first 3 years. That's kind of what I did. He ventured outside of Texas. That's literally what I was about to do right before this pandemic happened. So that's literally what I'm about to do now. Probably around the same age. So when I was talking to him before and after, we had a lot of the same mindset on a lot of things that we talked about. He is his own person, though. I'm not saying like we're the same exact person, but I don't know. You just kind of like click and have chemistry with people in the ring like that. And I didn't expect to get the reaction we got for that match. So it was really fun to kind of take that in. And that was the first time I like really felt in the moment. You know what I mean? Instead of like trying to focus on like hitting stuff clean and putting on a good performance, when I was just like in the moment, I was like, man, like I'm really here. Like they're really into this. They're really reacting to like every little thing we're doing. This is a back and forth match. Like by far, like that's my favorite match I've ever had so far. That's the one I send out to like to promoters like in and out of state. Like, hey man, watch this, because this guy's doing pretty good things, and I was able to have a good match with him.
Yeah, you guys went move for move in that match, and even the back and forth with the chops. Like everybody in the crowd was just, you can hear them, like you could see them like just grabbing their chest. You guys were going all out with those chops.
I would like to think I have at least top 10 or top 15 chops in the state of Texas. But that night, I was out chopped.
Shit, then I guess we're gonna have to get you on Mark the Mark once all of this is over, huh?
Oh, man.
I was thinking the same
Definitely.
Because Stallion and I have like the same kind of build, but somehow he has a more impactful chop that like puts a crater in your chest and you can hear it from outside the bar. So it was, I don't
Yeah,
know. It was a lot of things.
thing. Right on.
yeah, it was crazy. Now, with all these shows being canceled, not to get into too depressing things, but what are you kind of doing to keep yourself busy, keep yourself, in a good mental state?
So first of all, the one thing I was happy to do, and I was doing it anyway before I knew any of this was going down, was I was happy to like finally downsize my life to everything that could just fit inside of my Camaro, because I had like extra mattresses, a bunch of clothes I don't wear, these like chairs and tables like I had for when I lived alone before I got a roommate, for my single apartment, and like just all this like baggage, and it would just give me like stress, like seeing it like stored away in the corner of my room, for the entire year. And I was just sitting there kind of waiting for like this, waiting until the spring, till Mania weekend kicks off. That's when I'm gonna hit the road for 3 months and do all this training and go into wrestling full time and whatnot. And I was happy to like just finally have some time to like downsize my life, and like I thought I was gonna lose it, not having the gym, but I've found content and fulfillment in like doing body weight workouts and getting a sweat from that, and like challenging my cardio again, and challenging like long distance running again, and listening to music. The next things I'm gonna get into is learning how to pick up another new programming language, I think, and if I stop being lazy, maybe finally pick up Spanish so I can understand what like half the guys in the locker room are talking about when they look at me and laugh and say something in Spanish.
Okay,
So I just
I'm with
try
you
to
on that
find
one.
fulfillment with those little things, man. Like it's put a big emphasis on like trying to get better with appreciating the little things. Like I'm playing a lot more Smash Bros now. Like I forgot I was a big Nintendo nerd, Like
Hell yeah, man! It seems like. And how old are you again? I'm sorry, if you don't mind.
no, you're fine. I'm 25 and I turn 26 a month from now on May 9th. So a
Yeah,
month and like a day from now.
yeah. It's like just the way, just hearing you speak, it just sounds like you've kind of got, what your goals, set, and you're in a great mindset. That's very, very inspiring to listen to you talk, man. It's
I
very
appreciate
uplifting.
that. I really appreciate that because these are the kind of talks I would like talk to other people to kind of get like some guidance, you know. So it's very fulfilling, like when people like say that, or like if I get a message here and there, like from somebody from my high school, like, hey man, I think it's cool, like, I know you went into like computer science and tech and whatnot, but I think it's cool you're like chasing wrestling and stuff, and like not being afraid that like that's really what you want to do. And like honestly, man, like if I can inspire at least one person to like just be like, you know what, I don't like what I'm doing now, or you know what, I like what I'm doing now. Like then I just if they come to that realization and find out what makes them happy, like you really can't not be cliche with it, but it's very like fulfilling to hear when people are happy doing what they're doing and like feel at
Mhm.
like the right place in their life, like wrestling or not.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like I said, it's just very uplifting hearing you speak. And I guess moving forward with that, after all of this, the COVID and everything, what are your kind of short term goals and long term goals that you kind of have set for yourself?
Short term goal is not like there's anything wrong with wrestling in Texas or living here, but I've been here for pretty much almost 4 years now, and I've seen my fair share of like what the scene is like, where I stack up, and all the things I work on. But I have to first things first is like as soon as this stuff's over, like any first promotions that are open or willing to take like fresh new guys, like I'm out there. Like it doesn't matter if it's like starting from the bottom again, like in a different state or whatnot. Like I'm ready to hit the road. Like I've saved up 2 years after paying college loans for this. I've budgeted savings and uh, uh, just kind of like had a plan to kind of do all this. I don't know. I had this elaborate like 2.5, 3 month plan that was gonna start at the end of March, but the pandemic kind of literally canceled all of that. So I just kind of got to roll with it. I just know that being downsized right now and still getting a good workout at home or at the park or in the courtyard of this apartment that I'm at,
Hmm.
like, it's just keeping me kind of ready and primed, like for whenever this stuff starts up again. I said, all right, bet. My gear's washed, like my car's packed up, like I'm living on a couch right now, like I'm ready to go. Like I have
Yeah.
points and money saved up to fly if you need me to fly for the first time, second time, prove myself. So I'm like really, really ready to go all in on this stuff, man. Like I'm not just saying that. It's no cap.
Sky's the limit, huh? And now, would you like? Have you ever considered, coming down here to the Valley with me and Julio being from the Valley, Wrestling Revolution and everything? Have you ever spoken with anyone? I know you had the match with Danny Chance at New Texas Pro. Have you ever, talked about maybe coming down here sometime?
I do. Rob Love, King Rob Love, has tried to
Hmm.
get me down there a couple times, trying to get a carload from Austin just because it's a little bit of a drive. And previously, I was trying to make it work around not taking a day off for work because I would save those paid time off days for like places with really long drive. Or I mean, that is a long drive, but I'm saying like places with like really long drives where I'd have to stay somewhere and like be there the next day kind of thing. Maybe like leave on a Thursday. So I was really budgeting those and trying to find ways to like not make it by myself, if that made sense. Just kind of like get a
Hmm.
carload together. So, I mean, I got laid off now, but I have a savings plan and all that in order, and so whenever that kind of starts up, I wouldn't mind wrestling there. Those always look like fun matches. Like I'm always watching ASF and Rob's highlights from those shows, and always looks like a fun crowd.
Yeah, they're definitely something else, man. For me and Julio, at least down here.
I don't know
Now,
if Laredo counts, but I like wrestling in Laredo too.
Julio likes to say that Laredo doesn't count as the Valley, but
Laredo, no, it doesn't count at all. Doesn't
All
deserve
right,
to be counted as the valley.
I'm I'm from the suburbs of Detroit, a bordering suburb of Detroit. I should be more specific, which is way far north. So anything Texas is automatically super south to me.
Yeah. Now, so far with with the time that you've been wrestling, what would you say has been your well, I think you already answered that, but I guess biggest achievement. I was gonna ask what has been your favorite match, but you did say that the Kurt Stallion is one of your favorites.
Man, yeah, definitely the Stallion match. There's just ones that poke out in my mind. I know me, Mark, and Adam did a 4-way against Ricky Starks at Inspire. A couple of the summer matches with T-Ray, the ladder match with Bedlam, Danny Chance match this year was my favorite match of 2020 so far. The 5-way in Canada with Adam, Airwolf, and a couple other guys. That was a really fun one. So, biggest, I don't know if it's an accomplishment just because I'm still only like 3 years in, and I don't want to try to make what I've done or not done seem bigger than it is. But I'll say the thing I'm most proud of is starting in Texas and networking and becoming really good friends and acquaintances of just people in the Texas wrestling community, whether that's like wrestlers or fans, just because it's such like a close-knit community. And I'll tell you what, my mom's house is 3 to 4 miles from Truth Martini's House of Truth Wrestling School, where I always went back and forth in my head, like, do I call him? Do I start training there? Like, do I just risk it all? But no, I didn't. I just stayed in school, finished college, and did internships in the summer. So I didn't do that. But I always wondered, like, what if I did that, and I never met anyone down here? What if I was going to be that, like, 17, 18-year-old kid who, like, starts something and stops and starts it again? Like, I like to believe everything happens for a reason, and the time and place and the timing of things happening happens for a reason. So I think it was very fitting that, like, I was able to, because I'm a people person. I'm a very extroverted person, so that's why this like pandemic stay-at-home thing is kind of hard for me. So I think for me to leave my comfort zone in Michigan, be financially stable with a degree and a job in my back pocket, able to fund my wrestling training, and meet the type of people that the Texas wrestling community is made of, like, it's very fitting for me. It's like the community, like the start I needed to kind of stick with this stuff and keep going and get tougher and mentally more confident to stick with it and do it.
Definitely, and especially at the age of 25, man, that's quite quite the achievement. You've got it. You seem to have you seem to have your mindset, your goal set, and you're doing it. You're living the dream basically.
Yeah, man. I honestly like today I was talking to my roommate and I was like, man, honestly, if we're bored and our worst problem is like working from home or like just being bored or like, oh, we can only get a workout at the park, it's like, man, we don't really have no problems out here, dude. Like, we're not hurt, got decent health, decent age to still do and try whatever we want. And like, I don't know, I think wrestling's helped me, and the people within wrestling that talk to me and give me a lot of verbal lessons, because I'm hard-headed, I'm a Taurus, so it kind of goes that way. I think it's helped shape me and help me personally grow in that aspect. Just like in other areas of my life, it's like, oh, like you did this, you put this much work into wrestling. Like, okay, here's this hobby. How serious do you want to take that? Okay, does that want to be like as serious as wrestling? Yes, no, this, that. Helps me prioritize and be more realistic with the things I want to do in my life, and not be like shy or afraid to do it either. Like I was to tell people I wanted to be a wrestler like when I was like 16 or 17.
Oh yeah, man. So I guess we're gonna go into we have 2 segments we like to do here with our guests, and I'll let Chase introduce these two.
Okay.
All right. So like Zilla said, we do have a segment on our show. It's a 2-parter. So the first part is called Roast This Pig. And what you're going to do is we're going to have you cut a 60-second promo on a topic of our choosing. You could
Oh God.
bury the topic, you can promote it, you could challenge it to a match, insult its mother, do whatever the hell you want. The ball's in your court on this one, man. So Zilla,
All
introduce
right.
the topic.
All right. So let me get a timer ready too, and then I'll count you down, and I'll give you a bit to kind of get into that promo mode. But you're going to have to cut a 60-second promo on the great state of Texas.
Oh, man. Oh, man. All right. I can do it.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so 3, 2, 1, go.
Now, where do I begin? You might be wondering why someone like the Detroit import, Joe Demaro, came to the great state of Texas. Don't mess with Texas, right? Am I right? Okay. So, basically, long story short, I heard about this place called Whataburger, and it was all the rave. Oh, you gotta try this, you gotta try that. The milkshakes, the Cinnabons, the burger, this patty melt, that patty melt, chicken strip sandwich. I tried them all. And you know what? It sucks. It sucks. It's trash. And I'll tell you what's better than it. P. Terry's. You know what's even better than Whataburger and P. Terry's? In-N-Out. So Whataburger is a representation of what I think about Texas. And that's absolute garbaggio. Thank you. Goodbye.
Wow. And that's the end of the podcast, guys.
So, fuck off.
Thank you.
Wow.
Is that no, I just gotta ask for curiosity's sake. Was that a shoot?
No, okay, so no, not really. I like Whataburger. I like that they're open late at night when I don't feel like cooking or grocery shopping or whatnot. But can I be honest, bro? Like, I really think P. Terry's has a way better burger.
If I'm also being honest, I've never heard of P. Terry's.
Oh, it must be
Me
an
neither.
Austin-only burger chain.
Yeah, I've been to it.
Yeah, there's one coming to San Antonio, though. There's like a really big one coming to San Antonio. Yeah.
I lived in San Antonio all my life, so hearing P. Terry's, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
No, yeah.
I rarely go to Austin.
Next time you're in Austin, dude, definitely check that out.
All right.
For a second, I thought you were gonna say that like a Piggly Wiggly or a Wawa's was better than Whataburger.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
I'll tell you what, though. In-N-Out is not that good.
It's not.
I haven't had it, so.
All right, so Chazo, go ahead and introduce that second part.
All right, Demaro, this is where you're gonna have some fun on this one. So,
All right.
on this second part of the segment is called Roast This Host. So we're gonna have you, same rules apply. You're gonna cut a 60-second promo, but you have 4 options. You can either roast me, El Chazo, the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
You can roast Zilla or Julio, or the 4th option, you could roast all 3 of us as a collective. Don't tell us who you're gonna do it. We'll leave that as a surprise. Like I said, we'll give you 60 seconds. We'll count you down, give you some time to get your thoughts together and get in that mindset.
60 seconds again?
60 seconds, brother.
All right, bet.
All right, let me know when you're ready.
We can go.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Julio Cesar Vasquez, YouTuber, vlogger, podcast host for WrestleVLOGs, 3-time and first WrestleVLOGs champion. What are you doing here? Go subscribe. ... Born March 7th, 1999. San Benito, Texas. A random-ass YouTube link. My man, it seems all you're famous for is getting chopped by the boys. Let me tell you something, kid. Let me tell you something. Stick to the vlogs. Stick to the vlogs and only the vlogs. Maybe the podcast on occasion. Because once Joey D gives you the drip-drop slap of a chop to your chest, it's done so for you. That's garbage.
Damn, Paul.
Want to hear something funny? I think that is the first time in this podcast history that anyone has ever singled one of us out. Usually it's either all three of us or me and Julio.
That was all not that was not a shoot. I was just being a dickhead. Poorly, but you know, I was going with what I could do off the dome.
We have fan questions. Well, it's just one. The other one was already answered earlier. But we have a fan question from Bradley Man. Bradley Man asked if you remember that time that they sang you the SpongeBob theme in one of the shows. I don't know.
Oh yeah! Oh my God, dude, that was probably.
So,
Oh man, there's a whole story about that one.
Ooh, tell
if
it.
you want, yeah, tell us. I'm kind of interested in this when he sent me this.
I gotta hear this.
This had to be one of the most like, you know how when you have those moments where you wrestle in front of like no fans and like it's just very like, man, what the hell type moments. So
Yeah.
we're at a pro wrestling religion show, and this guy was like running on a Wednesday in Austin, and the first time he did it, he did really well. He pulled in the Lucha Bros and like Lance Hoyt, Moonshine, Dalton, bunch of like, and Ricky, a bunch of good like Texas talent and like international talent. And he did pretty well. He drew like 200 to 300 people in this small like quinceañera ballroom on like the south side of Austin on a Wednesday night. It was pretty tight. Um, so he tries to have lightning strike twice and runs. I guess the second time, like a couple months later, and I had gotten on that first show just by showing up and like helping out, and Dalton helped me get on the show. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do the same thing on the second one. So we get there. This is like a poorly promoted event. Like Nick Aldis was falsely advertised. Like a bunch of talent didn't end up showing up. The talent that did show up, we're like sitting there in the meeting, and like just miraculously, the ring crew gets like put in a match, and we're like the first match out, and I think Rudy Boy had forgotten the sound system or didn't bring a part of it from San Antonio or wherever he was hauling it from. So we had no music for like a six-man multi-man match. And we all walked out together in front of like maybe 20, 30 people, if that, in a very like spaced out ballroom. And we had no music, so they started singing the SpongeBob SquarePants theme. And it was at that moment I said, man, what am I doing? Like, what's going on here? Yeah, so I remember that. I didn't like feel any less of myself for what I was doing. I just meant like, man, like, how do we not have sound? Like, why are they singing this? Like, how am I supposed to feel cool walking out in a group with the guys I'm gonna wrestle to the SpongeBob theme sang by 5 audience members, really loud.
And how was that? How did that match go, though?
It was all right. I don't think anybody was super into doing much or wanting to showcase anything, so it was just reps for me. I actually like had a pretty whatever experience about it. I just know I wouldn't work that show again or with that promoter again. So and they don't really run anymore, so it doesn't really matter. And I'm at a point where I'm confident enough now to like speak out on that. So before I would have just said, "Oh, it's whatever." But I'll tell you now, like I wouldn't probably do that show again if they ever ran again.
Now, what would you say is like your favorite promotion to work for in Texas or in general?
I like them all. I mean, like obviously, like heavy metal's fun because you have the regulars like you guys, and then some of the other fans and the boys in the back that like you kind of became a family after seeing each other for a whole year every Thursday consistently. Like maybe 1 or 2 of those nights was off, but almost for a whole year we kind of bonded. I like wrestling Inspire in Austin. I like wrestling ACW in Austin, which I didn't when I first started, but that's just because I was very like not disciplined on how, paying dues works and whatnot. So once I started earning my spot up there, it was a lot of fun. Just kind of seeing what they would trust me with. I like working Lucha Brutal. I was supposed to make my debut on a tryout show for Reality of Wrestling. I've always liked their show. Laredo is a fun one. Honestly, like anywhere I am fortunate enough to be asked to be booked at, or I asked to be booked at, like it's a fun show for me,
Hell yeah. Now, I guess we'll start wrapping things up. We got two questions we usually like to ask. With all of this going on, with the pandemic and everything, what's kind of a message that you want to put out to the world, the people that might be listening?
Just in general about it?
Just in general.
Oh, man. Take time to just stop and reset and get those errands done that you keep putting off, or those things you want to change about yourself or fix, or those things you want to read, the video games you want to finish, the people you want to call and reconnect with, stretch more, still find ways to work out, find ways to fill your time in the day without being on your phone, because my screen time went up, and when I got that notification that my screen time went up drastically, I was not happy about that. So I tried to find more ways to occupy my time. So I don't know, pick up a new skill, just literally write down on a whiteboard or a piece of paper any and everything that interests you, and look at ways to pursue it or try it. Give it an honest try and see if you like it or not. Like, because now's the time. Like, I know some of us are fortunate to work from home. Some of us, I don't know if can handle being laid off or furloughed or time off from work, but really take the time and make the most of it, I'd say.
Hell
All right.
yeah.
All right. So now to talking wrestling in general. Any advice you want to give out to the people who want to break into business, whether it be a wrestler, referee, manager?
Man, you definitely need like a good baseline of mental confidence and toughness just to stick with it, because it's very just nothing in wrestling is natural. Like, bumping is not a natural movement the human body knows how to do, the moves we do is not very natural. I'd say get into a good baseline of like cardio shape, some strength shape, and then also find a very reputable school with like notable people that have come out of it, notable people that train people there, how often they train, what networking and connections they can get you, like while you're there or even after you're done being there, because all this stuff is very integral. I don't know. I still find myself like needing to fix and sharpen up some of my fundamentals, because some of my beginning training was kind of rough, and I'm very thankful for the people that came into my life through my wrestling school or my training journey or my wrestling journey that kind of helped me get to where I am now, and I'm still working on it every day. But yeah, man, like just find a reputable school, get yourself into moderate or relative shape, maybe even more than you think, so you can kind of be equipped when it comes to doing all those rolls and drills and bumps.
Hell yeah. Now, anywhere the fans can find you on social media?
Yeah, on Facebook, Joe Demaro, Demaro is the last name. Twitter, JoeSup94, JoeSup94. Instagram handle's the same thing. YouTube handle as well is also JoeSup94. So I need to be posting some more of my matches on there now that I have the time, right?
Yeah, definitely. And do you have any merch out that people or any way that the fans could support you? Buy anything, buy some merch.
Funny story, I never honestly thought I could have like profitable merch, up until the end of last year. So I've been dragging on that, and that's literally at the top of my list to get done before the end of the week, is to get some drafts done for some T-shirts and some 8x10s to kind of sell in the meanwhile and kind of experiment with how things look when they come out. So I will be dropping merch soon.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you so much, Joe, for coming on and talking to us here on the podcast.
No, I appreciate you guys for having me and listening to me and letting me speak on some of my experiences. I hope it helps you guys or anyone else that's listening. Not saying I've done too much in the short time I've been wrestling, but any advice or any part of my experience that can help make it easier, even from a thought process for others, is an accomplishment for me.
Right on,
All right.
man. Right on.
Well, thank you so much again for
Yeah,
coming on.
thank you so much, Joe.
Cool,
Thanks so
cool,
much, man.
man.
Hey,
See you guys soon, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully. We'll kick it. All right, guys. So that was our episode with the Detroit import, Joe Demaro. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We certainly did. Hope you guys learned some things because we sure as hell did as well. As always, follow us on social media. You can find me on Instagram at El Chazo. That is El Chazo with 3 Z's, ELCHAZZZO. And on Twitter also at El Chazo with 2 Z's, ELCHAZZO.
And you can find me on Instagram. That's at Moichzilla, MoichZilla. And on Twitter, that's at Merchzilla, MERCHZIILLA.
follow me on my social media accounts. Instagram, Julio_VASKS2. And then follow me on Twitter on Julio_VASKS. It's pretty much Julio Vasquez. But anyways, guys, also follow WrestleVlogs at WrestleVlogs on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And check that shit out. And also, last message as always, guys.
Be kind and wash your fucking hands.
Wash your fucking hands, god damn it.